The cost of Latin America's largest economy is heading higher. Consumer prices in Brazil rose more than expected in the first 2 weeks of January, mainly because of food. The country's IPCA inflation rate jumped nearly 1%, inching dangerously close to the government's target. And Brazil's deficit continues to worsen as well. The central bank said its current account deficit widened to the biggest on record for the month of December. Inflation is not the only problem in Brazil. It could be energy rationing for the first time in nearly a decade. Brazil relies on hydroelectric power for most of its energy. And when there's a crisis of no rain, that's a problem. Paulo Cabral joins us live from Sao Paulo.
Yes, Philip, and actually there is some fresh piece of news. About 1 hour ago, President Dilma Rousseff went on national television to reassure Brazilians that there is no risk of rationing of energy in this country. But of course, this reaction from the government shows that there is some tension in Brazil and some concern about this risk. And actually, this has to do with Brazil's struggle to cope with the bottlenecks in its infrastructure if it wants to continue growing. Truth be said, the problem is worse in education and also in transportation, but there are some issues with energy. And actually, back in 2001, Brazil had an experience of energy shortcuts, energy rationing that has actually traumatized many people here, and that is raising alarms now that there is a drought again in this country, that the rainy season is late. And this raises alarms, particularly in business that are very reliant on electricity, like this one I went to visit in Sao Paulo. Brazil's extended dry spell is threatening productivity in this workshop. Electricity generated by hydropower hits the chemicals and reacts with the metal bathed in acid. From this chemical bath emerges a shiny chromium-plated part. When Brazil experienced an energy shortage from a severe drought in 2001, it was one of the worst moments in this small business 45-year history. This year, the rainy season is late again in parts of the country.
I've already tried to find something to replace electricity, but I couldn't. So of course I got extremely worried when I heard about the risk of a problem. Energy is 90% of my business, but all I can do is wait and see what will happen.
Energy is essential for all industries, and actually in this one, electricity is the main raw material. So the assurance that the country will be able to provide it in the long run is key to encourage businesses to keep expanding. At least 2/3 of Brazil's electricity comes from hydropower. It's a great source of renewable, clean and cost-effective energy when there is water. Right now, Brazil's national grid operator reports the water levels at some hydropower dams are below 1/3 of their capacity. Experts say Brazil is likely to make it through this latest dry spell, but warn about the need to plan for the future.
Actually, we just explored 30% of our hydro potential, but it's something hard to negotiate internally. And in my opinion, I think we should pursue this with a mix of other energies just to lower down risk.
Families also fear the return of the energy rationing they endured a decade ago. Back then, millions of people like Dejailson Lopes adopted conservation habits, like using energy-efficient bulbs. But he hopes not to go through it again.
I think the government didn't invest as much as they should have. They asked us to do our part, but they didn't do theirs.
Aí piorou. E eles não investiram, então eu acho que eles pediram para a gente investir, mas eles não investiram no que deveriam ter investido.
This family looks unconcerned, and the government has dismissed talk of rationing. But to improve the outlook, some energy analysts say Brazil's exceptionally dry summer of 2012 will have to be followed by an exceptionally wet one this year. Well, and actually the problem is not only in the generation of energy, but also distribution and transmission that need to be urgently updated in Brazil. And there is actually one report from Brazil's National Electric Energy Agency saying that there may be problems even for the World Cup in 2014. The government, of course, is in its role saying that there will be no problems and that it is investing to upgrade and to increase the size of Brazil's electric system.
All right, Paulo, thank you very much. A very serious problem.